Hey folks, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather, and we got a severe thunderstorm warning out for Davidson County. This is a new warning that's going to be coming up here. It'll show up on radar here in just a minute, but this is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 4 o'clock. And so this is going to be for Davidson County, mostly the northern half, roughly, of Davidson County. And this is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and possibly some 1 inch or a little better hail. So that's going to be probably quarter, $half size hail. We've had a pretty good hail core off to our west, and that's been back in Dickson County and over in Cheatham County as well. Pretty healthy hail core with this as it came through there. And they've had a severe thunderstorm warning now for about 30 minutes back over there in Dickson County. And now a new warning drawn up, and there it is. And that's going to be for this cell that's going to basically go center line on just north of downtown, but we can't rule out effects down there in downtown and even just south a little bit as well, especially with the lightning threat. But the worst of it, and if by the worst of it meaning the largest hail, the heaviest rain, and potentially some strong damaging winds, that's going to hopefully be just north of downtown rather than right through downtown, but we'll just have to see. The warning here covers, it kind of bisects downtown, goes off to the 2465 split up north on the north side, Briley Parkway, Old Hickory Boulevard, and up toward Joelton. So again, Beeman Park, Scottsboro, Bells Bend, Talbot's Corner, Skyline, Good Pasture, all the way up toward Millersville and Goullettsville, Rivergate, and down toward Old Hickory. So all you folks up there are involved in this severe thunderstorm warning, and this is mostly a hail and maybe strong gusty wind threat there on this cell. Now let's look at velocities. Velocities don't look overly impressive, looking at about 30, 40 mile per hour winds there. Not to say we could not get some 60 mile per hour winds. That's certainly possible because these cores, this hail core that's way up in the storm, if that comes crashing down, that could create quite a wind threat. So the warning does warn of the possibility of strong damaging winds. So let's talk about what to do with this. If you are outside and you're inside this polygon, you need to go ahead and get inside, make plans to get in. If you're out ahead of this in Davidson County, you need to have a plan to get inside here relatively quickly as the storm comes in, because you don't want to be outside in the hail or the lightning or the heavy rain or the damaging winds. So really, you don't want to mess with any of this. So there's our new radar scan here. It's inside Davidson County now and is over towards Scottsboro, out Ashland City Highway, and it's coming through there. That looks like where the worst of it is right now. So there's your purples there, and that's going to show where your, most likely where your hail is. And that's right along, that's State Route 12. That's Ashland City Highway. You've got River Trace, Highway 251, and that's going to be Pecan Valley Road. This north-south there is Old Hickory Boulevard as it kind of goes down toward the sod farm there south of Scottsboro. So that's where we are, and that's where the strongest of the storm is right now. And it'll cross Old Hickory Boulevard and head over toward Briley Parkway on the west sides of Davidson County, and that's where this storm currently is. Now, if we back out and look at the polygon, we see that really good part of the northern part of Davidson County is involved in this, and it will be there over the next 20 minutes or so. The warning is in effect here until 4. So this storm is going to be moving to the northeast, and it will affect areas like Whites Creek, Haynes, Cedar Hill Park, Skyline Hospital area there on the north side at the Dickerson Road interchange with 65, Madison, Amqui, Goullettsville, Rivergate, and then on over into Sumner County over there in Hendersonville down toward Lakewood. So that's the storm we're dealing with, and it's been quite a storm back to the west of us. And we saw some radar indications a little bit earlier. David and I were looking at some radar indications up in the storm that sucker was healthy. Very, very healthy as far as a hailer goes back to the west, and that was over in eastern Dickson County, and that was we were watching that closely, and we had a pretty good idea that was going to be an issue for us as it moved east, and here we are. So let's see. I'm going to go over here to a different radar, David, and kind of look up in the storm, and seeing some of the indications it's pretty healthy. Maybe some of the biggest hail core has come down a little bit. Hope so. Looking at that over off screen. Let's zoom out a little bit. I know a lot of y'all have outdoor plans today. I do as well. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to jet to some of my plans and kind of work mobilely here. But for now, we got this storm off to the north of downtown Nashville. So I know a lot of you guys are outdoors today, have things you're doing out there, and the sun's out. I mean, it's a beautiful day. It's kind of a nice summer feeling day, but you got to watch out for these pop-up storms. And these are ahead of a line that we are expecting this evening. And these storms have popped up ahead of the line, and you got to watch out for the lightning with these. The lightning, we're getting into this time of the year where these storms can toss lightning way outside of the rain. So you can be way out ahead of the storm and still have a lightning problem if you're outside. So if you can hear thunder, go ahead and head inside. And definitely if you're inside this polygon, this yellow polygon, which is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a little bit bigger maybe than quarters on the hail size, you definitely want to be inside for sure. Looks like the hail sizes might be coming down just a little bit, at least radar indicated, still indicating some hail with it, and still seeing an area there where hail is likely falling around Scottsboro, but it looks like maybe the hail sizes have come down a little bit just in the past few minutes, and we hope that continues.
Yeah, Andrew, the core of this thing has come way down. Andrew, look at that note in chat, by the way. The core of this thing has come down, and it looks like really the heaviest part of the storm is coming into Bell's Bend now. And if that happens, it'll continue into Bordeaux, Metro Center, Germantown. And I'd imagine that there should be lightning precautions at CMA Fest with a cloud-to-ground lightning producer coming very close to the north side of the CMA Fest row down there along the river downtown. But the good news is this storm doesn't look nearly as bad hail-wise as it did before. When it was in Dixon, it was showing 100% chance of hail with max sizes about 2.06, I saw, inches in diameter. And usually that's an exaggeration. Typically, it's usually around half that amount, actually. But even 1 inch hail for us is a lot. But yeah, I've seen encouraging signs that it's gradually coming down and not coming down all in one giant action, which when it happens, when it collapses all at once, it means that it's probably pushing a lot of wind along with it. So this thing might be pulsing down, as we say. And even at this last scan, the hail core that Andrew was identifying about a minute ago near Scottsboro seems to be washing out as well. So good sign. I mean, it's definitely weakening, but I would not want to be outside in this one because it's going to get you pretty wet, and there's plenty of lightning with it.
Yeah, plenty of lightning, and and that's really that's one of our biggest threats this time of year. It seems like, and it's I've been outside in these kinds of days, and you'll be sitting out there with some friends talking, and just out of nowhere you'll get a lightning strike that is within a quarter or half mile of you, and it's just like, whoa, and everybody pulls your phone out to look at the radar. You just had no indication that you were involved in a storm, and all of a sudden you are. So this is that time of year when that happens, and this is really one of those cases where that could happen. You could be down here in Bellevue or up toward I-40 somewhere and not really having a clue that there's a storm moving just north of you, but yet you are you're in range of having a lightning problem. So yeah, watch out for this, especially if you're east of it. Don't let it sneak up on you. Even if it is weakening, probably still has a good bit of lightning with it. And so let's go ahead and look out ahead of it again and just see who's involved in the warning. Now, if you're inside the polygon, especially, you're sort of in the path of it, directly in the path where you would be involved in the rain and whatever hail is left out of it at the moment. Doesn't look like wind is a big issue, at least indicated by radar. That could change, but at the moment, it looks like winds 20, 30 miles per hour, nothing too unusual in a summer storm as it moves off to the northeast. So around Davidson Academy, Joelton, that Old Hickory Boulevard corridor there moves east to west toward Madison, Amqui, Goodlettsville, Rivergate, Lakewood, Inglewood, the 24-65 split, and the Dickerson Road and Brawley Parkway area up there. So that's really where this is, and then the storm moves off into Sumner County here in a little bit. So the warning's in effect for another 28 minutes by my watch, and we'll see if it holds together. But as David said, the storm seems to be pulsing down, which is a good sign, a lot better than up.
Yeah, Andrew, I was looking at some ETAs on here. It looks like another 15 minutes into East Nashville before probably the leading edge of it comes there. Madison, about 15 more minutes. We're looking about 345, 350 before we get into East Nashville, Inglewood, Madison, up near Rivergate. Should be to Old Hickory over by the lake over there in Lakewood. I would say probably just before 4 p.m. And hopefully it will have dissipated a little bit since then. They had a pretty good hailstorm in Hendersonville not too long ago, about 45 minutes ago. So I'm wondering if it's going to get a little bit more stable air as it gets over. But as far as the main line, if you zoom out, you can kind of see the main line shaping up. You see it there from Hopkinsville to Murray to Dyersburg to Madisonville up in western Kentucky. And what it's doing is kind of sweeping down, as Andrew puts that in motion. The models think that all those storms will kind of coalesce into one line. I'm not sure that's exactly what's happening. It looks like there's a couple of rows of cells out in advance of it. But the timing on that mainline energy is 6 to 7 p.m. for us. So I think that by 8, most of these shenanigans will be out of here. And I know there's a big downtown concert going on at Nissan tonight. That's probably going to be okay, assuming the models have that right. But just want to alert you guys. I know a lot of y'all are CMA Festing or planning to go to CMA Fest. I think it's probably still a go. But I'd rather be in my car before I got out before that main line came through. So look for an all clear by looking at the radar on your phone or the one on our website, and we'll certainly announce when we think the threat's over tonight. And we're thinking that's probably going to end around 8 o'clock. That's assuming the storms get in here between 6 and 7. That's a big assumption. They could be off a couple hours here or there. So, but I see a lot of stuff in the replies here on the stream and on Twitter. People asking about it. That's a pretty fair question. As far as driving in it, I mean, it's a small hailer right now and lightning and torrential rainfall. It's probably no worse than you've seen in other summertime storms. And they're just everywhere. So zooming back in on this, yeah, I mean, looks like we still got 25 minutes on that one, Andrew. And looking at the radar off screen here, it looks like it is doing what we thought before, which was strengthening to the south into Bell's Bend. So if you're downtown at CMA Fest, I think it's probably time to find you an enclosed shelter. Find you not a tent or a tree or a tall person, or if I stand next to the building, it'll hit the building and not me. I'm talking about a restaurant with 4 walls around you. That's the only real place to be in a lightning storm. A car is actually okay too. But I don't think you really want to be outside when this thing comes through. At worst, it'll put rain in your cowboy boots. I mean, that's
a bad day.
I did read on the joking present. They say that the first aid people treat a ton of blisters on feet from new cowboy boots and all the walking they're doing at CMA Fest. Like among the heat exhaustions and the other medical things that go on when you put thousands of people together, the foot blisters are a real issue.
And the foot blisters on new boots. Nice.
Yeah. All All right, now back to your regularly scheduled programming of that big old slug of rain down there. No Bills fan.
Yeah, it looks like what this is going to do is the storm is stronger on the south side and weaker on the north side. So, Jewelton, Beeman Park, Davidson Academy, even Goodlettsville, I would expect less issues there from hail, and more issues from hail down toward even downtown Nashville, TSU, Bordeaux, Bells Bend, because I would suspect there's probably some sort of a boundary, some inflow here to this storm on the south side, some sort of fuel here that's not unusual for a storm like this, but the fuel is going to be kind of down here on the southern end of the storm. And so I would expect that it would build here on the south side. New radar scan coming around, so we'll be able to see if it's doing that even further south than it is right now. But downtown Nashville, you're definitely not out of the woods as far as rain and even some hail goes. And yeah, it looks like it's staying pretty well in its confines of line that was drawn by a human. So, it doesn't care, but it looks like it's staying within that severe thunderstorm warning polygon, which is a good thing. If it's going to be severe, I'd rather it be inside a warning. But yeah, the hail looks like it's ticking back up again. The updraft might be getting a little more healthy again, and that's going to happen. It's going to go up and down. But it looks like that might be getting a little more healthy once again. So downtown Nashville, it looks like it might go just north, but it's going to be close. Definitely not far enough away for it not to be a lightning threat. It's going to be a lightning threat, so definitely be inside, as David said.
I mean, we might have to clarify that, Andrew. If you consider Germantown downtown,
Yeah.
which I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Germantown may get wet, and the tall buildings downtown in CMA Fest don't. That's kind of a distinction we're trying to draw.
Yeah, this thing's going to be close. It's going to be close. So now the hail threat, it looks like to me that the hail threat is going to stay north of the buildings. It's going to be really north of kind of the Trinity Lane, maybe 2465 split area would be my guess as far as where the hail is lined up at the moment. But, that shifts and moves. So let's back out just a little bit again, and we'll go back down to our storm. We were talking just a moment ago. This is not our main event, we don't think. We think the main event, as the models have been advertising, is going to be later this evening, and that's going to be here in a couple hours, depending on the speed of it, when these storms sort of get their act together and move through, whether it's one line or multiple cells like it is right now. But these storms will push through Nashville this evening over the next couple of hours, and these storms that we're having now are just kind of out ahead of that line. So don't let your guard down after this storm moves through. If you have outdoor plans, as a lot of you do, this is really just sort of the appetizer, I guess I should say. So this warning's in effect for another 20 minutes, and no indication that the Weather Service is going to let this warning go early, and looks like the updraft is sort of getting its act together a little bit once again.
Yeah, there's plenty of CG here, Andrew, too. I know we don't have that pulled up on this particular product that you're showing.
Yeah.
But some of them are positive strikes. There was one just on the other side of Barley Parkway, as that part of the storm is now in Bordeaux and will soon be in Metro Center. So please be inside. Like if you're top golfing, stop top golfing. There's a CG lightning maker incoming, and you probably don't want to be out there holding a golf club or being anywhere out near there. So kind of head on inside and get a responsibly sourced adult beverage. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that we probably ought to switch to Hopkinsville to get a better cross-section of the hail core on this.
Yeah.
Because it's super close to the radar, which means when you're super close to something, it's hard to see what's happening very up top on the tall part of it, and so when it gets this close to the radar side, it is hard to determine how much hail we've got. But it looks like this is definitely has potential for hail producing. But I don't see a lot of stuff in our replies of a lot of hail.
This thing's just now moving into some of the populated areas.
Yeah.
And I suspect that if there is any hail falling, which there's a drop in the correlation coefficient a little bit there, could be some hail mixed in with the rain there, just north of like Kings Lane, between Kings
Yeah, I
Lane
see
and
that.
Briley. Could be a little hail there. But yeah, as David pointed out with the lightning, I'm seeing a couple of strikes here at least a couple of strikes that are outside of any rain. It is not raining where some of these lightning strikes are hitting. And so be aware of that. If you're in Inglewood, Peeler Park, you're out playing golf or something, Old Hickory, Rivergate, Madison. I mean, just be aware that the lightning strikes can be way out ahead of the rain, and that's really a problem. So just be aware of that. The Weather Service has updated the polygon here, and what they're doing, they're just sort of shoring the warning up, getting people out of the warning where the storm has passed. And so the warning still covers a good part of northern Davidson County from downtown Nashville up to Goodlettsville, Lakewood, and moving northeast. So let's look at the core of this thing. Let's go up a bit more. We got a pretty good high resolution view of it with as close as it is. And that's a pretty healthy core.
That's a pretty good
This
core
is,
there.
This is up at about 21,000 feet. 25,000 feet. So yeah, pretty healthy there. This is a bunch of hail right here. So over Metro Center, Haynes, moving over I-65 here shortly. This is up at about 21,000 feet, and that is I can tell you that's solid hail, is what that is. And so that's what we don't want to come down all at one time. This is back down at the base view that we're used to looking at, and mostly just rain there. Not seeing a lot of hail indication there, but hopefully it doesn't all come crashing down at one time. So it could have some hail there between the 2465 split, Chesapeake, Good Pasture, Amqui. Amqui's up there to the north, Madison, the Ellington Parkway is what I was trying to think of. Ellington Parkway up to the Briley Parkway interchange. That's all game for some hail.
For the record, given the track of this storm, there are no tornado concerns with this at all. This is primarily a lightning, heavy rain, and hail event with potential for some damaging winds, although we're not seeing very much, if any, evidence of strong winds. The most I see is sub 40 miles an hour, which would not come close to qualifying for a severe wind. But there's certainly no indication of tornado or concern about tornado anywhere with this cell that's now moving through Germantown and heading on into East Nashville. But like Andrew said, I agree. I think the hail is probably on a line from Bordeaux to Metro Center, Talbot's Corner, Inglewood, maybe get as far south as 5 Points, although I think if you're in 5 Points, you're probably not going to see any hail unless you get some blow out the top and go that way, which I think is unlikely. So looks like Inglewood. And then downstream from there, we cross into the golf courses with the bend in the river as we get close to Old Hickory Lake and Tulip Grove and Hermitage. I think if you're in Hermitage, you're probably too far south to get the hail, but we'll have to see what this does. So I would say if you're in Lakewood, Old Hickory, Inglewood, East Nashville, go ahead and get inside. Lightning's coming. That's the worst thing. And, there it is right there. You see that rain shaft, Andrew?
Yeah.
It's got that can look scary because it looks oddly familiar to some other famous footage that we've seen here in Nashville before. But that's called a rain shaft. There's probably hail falling into it, but there's no concern or indication at all of any kind of tornado in there whatsoever. So we're not worried about that. You should not be worried about that. But that looks like a hail shaft. What happens is there's so much rain and hail, it's falling so fast and so close together that you just can't see through it because it's so thick. It's basically a wall of water. And it'll move from left to right through this photo here. And that's the part of the cell that's going to go into East Nashville, mostly Inglewood, I would say. And just kind of get where most of the people live. I mean, it's hitting a pretty high density area as it's already crossed I-65/24. And so I guess we've officially missed downtown with it as we thought we might, which is great. But yeah, that's called a rain shaft with torrential hail. Or torrential rain, there's probably some hail in there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, the main part of the storm now, it's about to finish crossing 65, and right there around the all the way from downtown. I mean, really from the stadium all the way up to the 2465 split, Skyline Hospital, Cedar Hill Park. Good size cell, but the good thing is it's moving along. It'll be out of here very soon, and then we'll be back to whatever we were doing before. Outside or whatever plans you have. But yes, there are more storms back to the west, and we're going to have to keep an eye on these. And maybe you're just joining us here for a little while, so we want to make sure you know that there are more storms back to the west, and currently not severe. The only severe warning we have in our, part of the mid-state here is ours, here in Davidson County. We've had some other severe thunderstorm warnings off to our east this afternoon, that some storms that did produce ping pong ball size hail over there in Williamson County, and then off to the northeast of us. And that could happen again. We've got more storms coming in from the west, and so we're going to have to watch and see if they do the same thing and develop into storms that could pose a hail and strong wind threat. So far, our threat has really only been hail. I don't think I've seen any wind reports out of this stuff. I think I think most of our threat today so far has been hail, although they're watching some rotation over in eastern Middle Tennessee. So that is not for us, but we're just going to kind of keep an eye on these things to see how they develop. But yeah, as David said, our tornado threat's very, very low, but we are seeing some occasional tornado warnings pop up to our east, and we'll keep an eye on that. But that threat is not high today. It's not high today.
Yeah, and I'll say to the east, Andrew, that's closer to where I think we would be more suspicious of tornadoes happening.
Yeah,
that environment up there is pretty different from ours.
Yes.
So they put, even in the watch, they put, a tornado or two as possible. But when they did that, they were talking about a giant area that was a lot of Kentucky and some of Middle Tennessee.
Right.
So when they wrote a tornado or two possible, I think they had to leave it in there because that didn't cover parts of the watch area where a tornado was a legitimate concern.
Yeah, our tornado threat's very, very low today.
Yeah,
very low.
I mean, it has the shape of a bad storm, but you need... I mean, that's like trying to make an omelet without any eggs. You just can't do it. So, yeah.
Yep. Here's a picture of our storm.
By the way, I blocked our favorite person. Just FYI. A little inside baseball here for our YouTube video. So we have this dude who just keeps coming in here and answering questions for us.
Nice.
It's driving me crazy. So anyway, just letting Andrew know.
Great.
Yep.
Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Davidson County. This is for the storm you see right now. This is from the Midtown camera, and this is looking over downtown, past downtown, and looking toward Inglewood, and that's where the storm is now. So the storm here on radar is pushing to the east through Inglewood, Talbot's Corner, Skyline, Madison. It'll be over in Old Hickory, Lakewood, Hermitage Golf Course area. Get off the golf course. But that's where this thing is headed. Again, it is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, and that is going to be right along Neely's Bend Road. It's going to be up there along the river near Berwick Trail. It's going to cross Brawley Parkway around Inglewood and the Opryland area, McGavick Pike. And see, I just heard thunder where I am. And there's no rain. And
it might have been the air show.
It could be the air show. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
let's hope it's the air. Because
I was going to say,
if it's a thunderstorm, our radars are busted. There's no way it's a thunderstorm.
Well, that's why It made me nervous. Yeah, okay, I'm looking up. There is nothing over me, so that could not have been thunder.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
got to be ocean.
so yeah, let's go back to radar. So anyway, that's where this storm is up there around Inglewood. But I was about to make my point about the lightning. You're so far from the rain, and you get lightning and all that. That could not have been lightning. All right. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for about another 9 minutes. They'll make a decision here on whether they're going to extend that east, further over into Sumner County and over into Wilson County, and then it'll be out of here. So Weather Service is most of the conversation they're having right now is over for storms east of us, and that's where most of the action's been today as far as the severe thunderstorms. Most of those have been over to our east. So they're keeping an eye over there on some strong storms there, and then let's take a look at a video.
Dude, go
This
look
is
at that
video of
storm
our
on
storm.
radar. It's something
What's
else.
that?
I said that Overton County storm is something else.
Yeah, storm over in Overton County. This is what I was just talking about over here. This is nowhere near us, but this is a storm over in Overton County, Livingston. This is way to our east, but this is one of those storms that had developed not too far from us earlier today and moved east. And that's just kind of a representation of what they've got going on over there. But yeah, that's a very healthy storm over there. Our storm is not nearly as healthy as that storm is. But as I was showing, it's a good video of it. That's a pretty cool looking storm there. So as long as it's not causing any damage, that's pretty neat.
Hold on. Keep it up there. I'm going to screenshot it for it. Oh, wait. That'll take forever. Never mind. Could pull it up some other way. So Kahari Wines just sent us a cool one. I'll retweet it. Here it is. Yep. Great. I'm going to retweet this. This is really good.
Nice. Yep, good looking storm. We don't mind storms. We just don't like when they mess stuff up. I mean, we're weather fans, so we like storms. Still could be some hail. I still think this thing could be dropping some hail. And have we gotten any hail reports out of this?
I haven't seen any.
Okay. Well, let us know. Okay, there's some pea-sized hail. Looks like falling over at the scoreboard over in Music Valley. Anthony just sent that in, and over on Twitter. So yeah, I was going to say it would not surprise me at all to get some hail out of this, some small hail over there around Opryland. That's right there around Music Valley Drive, and so that would not surprise me to get some small hail out of this. You see those purples right there? That could easily be, and that's more than likely where that small hail is falling, right there around Music Valley and Opryland Hotel area. But I haven't seen any indication yet of hail that is particularly large.
As you can tell, we're not worried about tornadoes or much else. At this point, this is a golfer's nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
I was on the golf course Friday for my twice-a-year golfing outing, and it just cracks me up. They have those little small pavilions with the little roof on them. Like any kind of storm that's worth anything, it provides you no lightning safe shelter. And if it's raining at all hard, the water's just going to blow in there anyway. I don't even know what they're there for. We saw a giant snake. I think it was a black racer. It was pretty cool.
I'm sure you hung around for that.
Oh, I was very far away. Very far away.
Decent hail core now, I think, right there around, right there on the north side of or really crossing the river. They're just east of Briley. I'm sorry, that's not crossing the river. Hang on just a second. Yeah, it is actually. It is crossing the river. Right there around Neely's Bend. And I would say there's probably a decent hail core there. Probably a decent amount of hail coming down. And that's going to be right there in the neighborhoods. We had these roads on just a moment ago. So there's Berwick Trail, There's Neely's Bend Road. And there's Cheyenne Boulevard. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we get some hail reports out of that. If you do see hail out there, it'd be real useful to us if you wouldn't mind sending us that report. Let us know what you see. Compare the hail to the size of a coin. And it takes about quarter size to be considered severe. But we hope you don't have quarter size hail out there. But that's pretty decent hail return there on radar. And send that to us using hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. And we'll get that over to the Weather Service. We're putting reports that we get, we're putting those over to the Weather Service, and they use those to help issue warnings downstream of this and to kind of know what's going on inside the storm. So if you can safely do that, let us know what you see over there along Cheyenne Boulevard and Berwick Trail and those roads over there right off the river as it approaches Old Hickory. So Lakewood, Old Hickory, and over toward Old Hickory Lake, and I'm sure there's some people out on the lake today. Hopefully you're already off the water, but could be some hail heading your way here really in the next 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes at most, as it pushes off to the east. They're toward Old Hickory Lake, Lakewood, Old Hickory, and the east sides of Madison. Let's see here. Looks like getting more reports here of hail. Old Hickory. Looks like some pea size in Madison.
Yep. Not getting very many questions on the tweeter. Like you, I'm seeing just a few scattered. It's raining really hard. It's kind of windy, and there's a little bit of small pea-sized hail mixed in. There's several, those little white dots you see on the radar that Andrew's showing is a cloud-to-ground radar strike, or cloud-to-ground lightning strike as overlaid on the radar. So this is putting down some good stuff. Here's a nickel-sized hail report.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if these hail sizes go up in our replies here soon or on T-Spotter. Nichols and Old Hickory does not surprise me one bit. This is a pretty decent little hail core here that's moving over, again, those Neely's Bend Road, Berwick, Cheyenne Boulevard, and over into Old Hickory. And there's our new radar scan there. Yeah, moving through Old Hickory and Lakewood right now, crossing the lake. Nichols are a good bet there, a good bet, maybe even bigger. So that's a very healthy radar signature there as far as hail goes, right through Lakewood. So I know it's a little hard to tell what you're looking at here. The radar view on your left is sort of a traditional rain radar view. The view on the right is what we call correlation coefficient. Not getting down in the weeds with it. It's just telling you that basically the stuff you see here is not all one type of what am I saying? It's called a hydrometeor falling out of the sky. So it's not all rain. It's not all snow. It's not all hail. That means there's a mixture here. So there's definitely water and ice falling out of this in Lakewood and Old Hickory. The severe thunderstorm warning is gone. Whether they'll reissue that, we'll have to see. But that's going to be out of Davidson County here shortly. But we're seeing, even there on T-Spotter, even seeing a little bit of tree damage. That's up there along Baxter Avenue, and seeing some pictures there of even some trees that have been damaged there. Yeah, in fact, look at the velocities there, David.
Oh, wow.
Velocities have come up quite a bit. So coming there through Lakewood, looks like the storm did really what we, it really looks like kind of what we were hoping it wouldn't do back further to the west is sort of drop all that hail at one time. It looks like this thing's definitely in a downburst situation. And it looks like a brand new warning coming out, as we would expect. So severe thunderstorm warning just got reissued here for Davidson County, and that's for this storm. The strongest part of it looks to be just over into Sumner County, but definitely looks like there was a microburst, downburst there in Old Hickory and Lakewood just in the past couple of minutes. And I would expect when that happened, it was quarter-size hail and probably some 50, 60, 65, maybe even 70 mile per hour winds there. It looks like we're getting about 65 on the radar, 65 miles an hour. And that's very, very close to the radar. So we're counting on that. That definitely was reaching the ground. So again, new severe thunderstorm warning. Really, anybody that's affected by this severe thunderstorm warning is experiencing the storm as we speak in Davidson County. So
Facts.
if you're in Old Hickory or Lakewood, you're getting it now, and so it's no surprise to you that we just got a new warning. So yeah, this thing's kind of a mess. So it looks like what happened was just to the west. So there around Inglewood, the storm really kind of got its act together again, hail-wise, as it was crossing the river multiple times. And then when it just kind of let loose right there around Lakewood. And here come the reports. So P to dime-size hail in Neely's Bend. We, of course, got that tree damage on Baxter Road. Hail across from Opry Mills. Looks like Nichols and Old Hickory. So here come the reports of that. So, yep. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit. This thing is about to run out of Davidson County, and that would be fine. Back to the west, got some scattered cells. Looks like there's one in Hickman County trying to get its act together with a little bit of hail. Let's hope not. Let's get a lull. Let's get a break before the line comes through. But it looks like a storm there in northern Hickman County is trying to get its act together. We'll watch it. But the main story is this thing that just let loose in Old Hickory and Lakewood. All right. So new radar scan now. The storm is over in Sumner and Wilson counties. So the strongest wind will also be over there. Whoa, isn't that interesting? Let's go back to... Oh, come on. Well, forget that. This thing's moving directly over the Weather Service office. So that is not the eye of the storm. That is the Weather Service radar. And it is moving directly over them right now. David, let's do this. They're gonna bring us out of this warning here pretty soon. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and say how to send us reports of whatever damage you might have. So if you see damage outside, or maybe you experienced damage at your place, or you see damage as you're somewhere you're going, I would expect there to be probably tree and maybe some hail, large hail, tree damage perhaps, from really Hermitage Golf Course, Lakewood, and Old Hickory, and perhaps like Peeler Park, Neely's Bend area. So if you see any damage out there or experienced any hail, let us know. Use hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter. We'll get that over to the Weather Service and let them know about that. But stay safe out there. And David, let's hop off of here and sort of regroup and get ready for whatever the next round brings us.
Agree.
All right. Well, you guys have a good one. We'll talk to you later.